Hey, Manchester United fans. Welcome to Tuesday Look Ahead. Tuesdays are going to be the day where we normally look ahead to games on upcoming weekends due to the fact that in a few weeks, months, there will be more games. They're played during the week, Champions League and stuff like that, FA Cup, Carabao Cup. So we have chosen Tuesday, or I have, as Tuesday look ahead and see what's coming up. Next game is also an away game. So we have two games away in a row now, and it's the Wolves coming up. Wolverhampton is very physical team in many ways, kind of like similar to Southampton. Both of them are very physical. Both of them are playing with a low, not maybe low block, but a low center of defense. And but Wolves have a tendency to go forward way more than Southampton do. So with that in mind, are we going to have a tough game on our hands? Absolutely. Let me tell you right away that no games in the Premier League are easy, even though if you're playing Brentford or Norwich or something like that. No games are ever easy in the Premier League, that's for sure. Wolverhampton or the Wolves are one of the games that have always been a tough match, just because they're very physical. They are a very physical team. I haven't seen too much about them lately with a new coach. So I don't know if their approach to games or approach to playing style is different than what it was previously. But, these players have it grained into their mentality that they're going to be tough and give you a hard time. So Manchester United absolutely have a big task on their hand in the upcoming game. I know I was pretty sure about a win or a victory against Southampton last weekend, and it didn't go that way. But we could have nicked the game, but so Southampton could have done the same thing. It was a pretty even game. I want to say even doesn't mean good always. It was a poor game from Manchester United's side. So it was a bad even game. I hope we can raise our game and our playing 10 levels above where we were. We need to get back to the Leeds level, that's for sure. I believe that in many ways Wolves are going to be tougher than Southampton, so we have to focus. We have to come there focused. We have to come there with a intent to win, and we have to come with an intent to show and set a standard. And it's absolutely vital to the team that the best players on the team shows up and do their job. The last thing I want to see, and this is, I am a big Bruno Fernandes fan, and I was glad that we signed him back in the day, and it's been absolutely one of the best signings in the club's history. But he has a tendency to become a little bit of a prima donna, and complaining and whining if things doesn't go his way. Bruno Fernandes, I feel, is not a typical player that do good when the going gets tough and the tough has to get going. If he has to play against a team that plays tough and physical, that doesn't suit Bruno at all. I have noticed that every time we meet teams that are very physical and very tough, he kind of like zones out. Because if you think about the Southampton game, he had flashes here and there, but he wasn't even close to what he was doing against Leeds or other games. So I've seen it before. When you get a little bit of resistance, Bruno fades out. And if they go after him, and they make him start being a yappy and whining thing, then he loses his game. He loses his focus. He loses his concentration, and he's more or less a liability to the team because we're basically playing with 10 guys. Pogba, on the other hand, is totally different. He seems to he gets pissed, but and he complains too, but he kind of like grabs the moment and he wants to push on. You saw that in the Southampton game because he had some tough hits and on him, and he just got up and kept on going. Bruno got a hip hit, and he was down on the ground, and he was moaning and whining and whimpering. And after that, it was like, what was he? He was nothing. So that's the thing that worries me about Bruno. Bruno going is tough. He's not going. He's not the one tough that's going. So he has to show up and he has to start just blocking things. If someone is a little bit rough against you, take it and go back and do more. Use it as a catalyst to do better. So, but there's other players on the team that is even worse. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Southampton, well, let me put it like this. Leeds showed us what we can do on a good day. And it shows us that we can push the level of things pretty darn high. And I think we have, due to the fact that there was, against Leeds, there were like 4 or 5 or 6 players that was not even ready for the team. We can elevate that team, the level even higher, So the ceiling for this club is higher than we have seen in these 2 games. But the floor and the lows can be equally low. And we saw it against Southampton. I saw Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had given a remark about the game in an interview, and it was listed or posted on the Manchester United app and on Facebook, where he said Matic had played really well. Ole, what game did you watch? Because I watched the whole game on TV. He was not accurate with his passings. He was slow. When he got the ball, he dragged his tempo down. Against Leeds, we had a way higher tempo, and the tempo in the Leeds game was dictated by the midfield. And the back 4 also dragged the tempo down in this game. It was a lot more side-to-side passes, 2-touch, 3-touch, pirouette, spinning around, change of mind. No, this game was not good, and Matic was not. He wasn't like poor, but damn, he wasn't good either. I said in my match review that he was one of the 4 that was really bad, and in the Southampton game we had 4 players that was really bad. It was Fred, it was Matic. I want to say that Lindelof was very bad, and we had also Maguire. He wasn't like really good either. He almost cost us the game, and then we had players that was like off. It was almost like they were switched off. They were not their regular self. Like Shaw didn't do anything like he's normally doing, and he was like away from the game for most of the game. You never saw him. And Martial, he was terrible. So those 5 players that was really bad. Wan-Bissaka is good on the defensive role part and stuff, and tackling and stuff like that. But going forward, he offers very, very little. And the few times he does, he normally doesn't have players around him that can really do much. The only ones that I really want to say that deserve to get praise for the last game was David De Gea and Paul Pogba and Mason Greenwood. Those are the ones that deserved praise. They fought. They were doing good, and I don't know. But in the upcoming game now, it is important that we take the task head on, and we go out and we show that what happened against Southampton was a one-off, okay? We have to have players like Bruno to show up. He has to grab a hold of the game, and he has to stop whining and bitching and moaning. Paul and Mason just keep on doing what they're doing, and the back 4 needs to really step up their game. I'm not going to say anything about David De Gea. He's been doing fabulous. People who criticize him can go and take a nap. So players needs to take responsibility, because as much as I've seen online on YouTube that people are dishing and bashing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. The only thing that I could say about him and what he did wrong was he didn't pick the right team. And he does this every now and then. I'm a Norwegian. I like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as a player, as a coach, as a manager, and what he has done. Don't get me wrong, but what he did against Southampton was a head scratcher without a doubt. And he does this sometimes, and he sometimes he shows excellence as a manager, but many times he shows his ignorance, not ignorance, but inexperience. He sometimes is not making the right decisions, and I'm afraid it's going to hurt him someday. If he keeps doing this, it's going to hurt him as a coach and a manager. So what's coming up now is very important that the players take their responsibility, grab this game by the scruff of the neck, and run the game from the first minute. We can't let the Wolves in this game, and we can't let them play their game. We need to dictate the game. Even if it's a away game, we have to dictate the game. As for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he needs to wake up, because sometimes I feel that he falls asleep in the classroom. And that's what he did at Southampton. He fell asleep, he got complacent, and he wanted to try something that shouldn't have been tried, and that didn't pay off. He should have known. He's the one that should have known that Martial is not good enough for this level. The last 6, 7, 8 months before his injury, you could see a downfall on Martial's performances, and it was evident that something was going on, and I think it's mentally. And then he got hurt, he got injured, and haven't played much lately. Then he comes back, and he is not ready. He needs an intervention or something. So why did you pick him? This is where he shows his inexperience, because when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer picks Matic and Martial in a tough physical game, as Southampton is, which he knew it would be, because he went there last year and they were leading 2-0 at halftime, and it was just because of Cavani that we came back and managed to win the game. We had no Cavani this time. And he picks Martial and Matic in a game like this, when he has Sancho on the bench and Donny van de Beek on the bench. I bet you that Donny would do a way better job in Matic's position than Matic did. And why isn't Donny being used more often? Donny is better than Fred. Donny is better than Matic. Use Donny together with McTominay. I'm not saying McTominay is good, but at least he's the best of the three of Fred, Matic, and McTominay. He's the best one. So why are you not playing Bruno, Pogba, Matic, and no Matic? Bruno, Pogba, McTominay, and Van de Beek on the middle, in the midfield. Why aren't we doing that? Because I'm pretty darn sure that it's better than what we have been doing so far. And to put Matic in there, who is like a turtle these days when it comes to speed, are beyond me. If you ever want to ask for problems and trouble, you put Matic in your defensive midfield. You're going to have a lot of trouble. Especially when you combine that with a weak player in the back four as Lindelof. Oh my God. Recipe for disaster, okay? And how can you do that? How can you pick this team with Martial, Matic, and Lindelof? How can you pick those three when you have Van de Beek, Varane, and Sancho on the bench? You signed 2 players for over $100 million, and they're on the bench, and you said before the game that they are ready. That is ignorance. I'm sorry, but that is ignorance. And that is inexperience showing itself. This is what Ola do sometimes, and this is how he gets things wrong, and this is why we lose games. We can do better. We can do way better than we have done the last 2 years if he didn't do these mistakes, which he does 4 or 5 or 6 times a year. He gets the team wrong 4 or 5, 6 times a year, and sometimes he's lucky. He gets it wrong sometimes too, but he wins still. And that just then he goes like, "Oh, I got it confirmed that it's the right thing to do." No, it's not. You should take this as a learning experience that Matic should not be in the midfield anymore. He is a backup in worst case scenario. Okay, if someone you play a game and someone gets hurt and you don't have anyone else, that's when you put Matic in. You don't start him anymore. And I'm sorry, you're playing the weak Lindelof in the back four. Mm-mm. When you have opponents that likes to play tough, physical football, you don't put a weak player like Lindelof in the back four. You put someone in there that has the strength, that has the speed, and that are good on the ball, that can break down opponents that are coming towards them, and that is Varane. You bought Varane for over $40 million, so why not use him? You bought Donovan de Beek for over $40 million, why not use him? You bought Sancho for over $70 million, why not use him? They're not freaking reserves, they're not squad players. This is where Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gets things wrong. And this is where he has to improve fast. If he doesn't, trust me, the fans are going to turn on them, and the pundits are going to turn on him. The pundits have been turned on him for 3 years already, so it's not going to take much before he becomes the new Arteta. So I mean, I like what Ole has done, and I hope he will be successful in Manchester United. But if he keeps doing this like he did at Southampton, no, you're just giving, you're just setting you up for being a cannon feeder, So I'm sorry, but that's not going to fly in more games. Sancho has to start. Varane has to start. Donny van de Beek has to start. I don't care how much he likes Fred, but Fred is not a good player. I don't care how much he likes Lindelof, but Lindelof is a terrible player. Lindelof is probably the weakest and the worst player on the team overall, in general. Closely followed by Martial. Closely followed by Fred. Closely followed by Matic. Matic has skills, but he's so slow. He's over his peak. He's way out of date. So, okay, let's look at something more positive. Can we win the upcoming game against the Wolves? Well, if the players shows up, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gets the team right, yes, we can beat the Wolves. I feel that this year we are a title contender. Of course, we're going to have speed bumps for the season, but at least let the speed bumps be because the other team is really freaking good, and they're just outplaying us, and we are having a bad day. Don't let the speed bumps be because we make poor decisions. So, can we win the upcoming game? Yes, I think we can. And I think the score will be Wolves 1, Manchester United 2. So we're going to win 2-1. That's my prediction for this upcoming game. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be blood, sweat, and tears. It's going to be... We have to fight for it. We have to give it all to win this game. But we're going to win it 2-1. And I think it will be so tough and so hard that it's going to be like a late goal winner. It's going to be 1-1 for a long time, and then we get it at the end. And I think that the upcoming game, if Cavani is available, we have to play him. We have to play him. We have to up on top. We have to have Sancho. We have to have Mason Greenwood and Cavani. Those are the three on top that we have to have. And we can't have a weak midfield, or else we're going to be overrun by the midfield of Wolves. Because Wolves has a pretty strong and tough midfield. And in the back, We have to get Lindelof out of this game. He is weak. He can be sold. I mean, we have so many options on center backs. So just get rid of Lindelof. He's a weak player. So there you have it. And I'm going to predict that once again, man of the match next weekend, it's going to be Paul Pogba. So far, I want to say that this season, so far, Paul Pogba has been our best player. And that's kind of scary because he's about to leave after this season. And I doubt that he will be signing a new contract. But we'll have to see. But I'm predicting 2-1 to United. It's in a tough, close game with a late winner goal. And Paul Pogba will be the player of the game, player of the match. Manchester United is the best player. So I'm looking forward to this game, even though it's going to be a nail biter. So what do you guys think? What do you think the result is going to be? Please make a comment below. Who do you think is going to be the man of the match in the upcoming game against Wolves? And do you think he should start Varane and Sancho and Van de Beek? Make a comment below. And please, feel free to subscribe. This is a fan channel, very casual fan channel, where we do Manchester United, we do 49ers, and a few other things. And we do things that have to do with sports. So, yeah, join the ride. See you next time.